Gun violence is a growing problem across the country and here at home. Almost every day we report about a shooting in our area and whether the victim survived.
The often untold story, though, the impact on local hospitals that we all depend on for our care. Jen Horton takes a closer look in tonight's investigation.
Treating those who have been shot in the Birmingham metro area is a full-time job. UAB is the only level 1 trauma center in the state. The number of gunshot victims it treats up 100% over the last 8 years. Dr. Daniel Cox is one of the top trauma surgeons at UAB. During our nearly 30-minute interview, a shooting victim was rushed into the ER along with another patient who had been stabbed.
We really are in a this epidemic right now of gun violence, and that while it often impacts a fairly small segment of the community, the costs in life and in societal resources is huge.
Not only are there more victims, the injuries are increasingly complex. Over the last 2 years, the number of patients they treat with gun injuries up 40%. The number with severe injuries up 30%.
It's a big, resource constraint, right, on the system. So those patients are, more likely to need operations, more likely to need blood transfusions, more likely to need prolonged ICU care.
The injuries now indicative of high caliber weapons.
I had a patient recently with multiple gunshot wounds that basically hits every cavity, right? They're hit in the face, in the neck, in the chest, in the abdomen, and the extremities. So it certainly increases the, potential lethality of the injuries and makes their overall injury burden significantly higher.
Forcing UAB to bolster its trauma team.
Day of the year, 24/7, we have 2 trauma surgeons that are in the hospital on call to be able to take care of trauma patients and ICU and critically injured patients. We also increased our nursing staffing providers, so the number of nurse practitioners and PAs that we have on the trauma service, we've dramatically increased over the last 3 years to be able to help take care of this influx.
The numbers don't begin to convey what Cox and his team see every day. Their patients often face lifelong injuries requiring high levels of care after leaving the hospital.
On our service right now that are very young, that had gunshot wounds, that are now either paraplegic or quadriplegic, right? They are not able to walk. They will probably be in a wheelchair the rest of their lives because of the injuries they've had. Others require very complex abdominal surgeries that carry consequences again for the rest of their lives.
Cox isn't trying to scare us with this information.
Part of it is just for people to be aware of, to start looking at how can we impact this, how can we decrease what we're seeing in terms of the gun violence, because it's just a huge amount.
Victims who have been shot make up only a portion of UAB's trauma cases. Over the last year, they've seen more than 6,700 trauma patients. More than 1,200 had gunshot wounds. Jennifer Horton, WBRC, Fox 6 News, on your side.